everyone. My name is Jaden, and we are back with Fantasy Tomorrow. As always, we have our resident expert, Caleb Henley, on the other screen over here. I always say the other line, but I realize it's not really a line, it's a little television, so.
We're fancy.
Yeah, what can we say? As always, we're going to kind of keep with the whole game plan we've been doing, so this episode is going to be about player acquisitions. Please continue to stay tuned and like, comment, and subscribe to see all of our other episodes for week 5, which is injuries and lineups. With that being said, some weeks, like week 3, are full of explosions. It's like TNT going off everywhere. And you can very easily see who you should be picking up. But then you have weeks, like week 4, that are maybe just a little block of TNT over here and a little one over here. And you have to look a lot harder to see the picture of who you should probably be picking up for your fantasy team. It's kind of like a Christopher Nolan movie versus a Michael Bay movie. So, week 4 was more of a Christopher Nolan, if I say so myself. What about you, Caleb?
Yeah, definitely so. Not a whole lot going on. Have to look a little bit closer to get a full picture of everything that was actually happening, know how we're going to go about and attack the waiver wires this week.
Yeah. But I guess we should just go on ahead and get to it then, now that we got all of our movie talk out of the way. So, as we all know, bye weeks start this week. So, who has a bye week going into week 5?
So we got a couple of teams that have bye weeks. So the Packers, so obviously Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, there's definitely some players there that you'll want to be aware of that you can't have in your lineups. But also the Detroit Lions have bye week this week. So you need to definitely make sure that those players are out of your lineups. And another couple of teams just to keep an eye on for this week is the Titans and the Bills. And that's due to the COVID outbreak that's been going on with the Titans. They had to cancel their game last week with the Steelers. So just proceed with caution. It seems like everything's going along as planned. They have that outbreak under control, and they should be able to play this game this week against the Bills. But just in case something else pops up and they have to delay another game, you might want to have a backup plan. Maybe if your starting quarterback is Josh Allen or Ryan Tannehill, or if you have Derrick Henry or some other player, just have a backup plan just in case that game gets canceled as well.
Well, I know most of those players probably don't enjoy having bye weeks, but let me tell you, I would die for a bye week. Like, just showing up at work and being like, oh, just kidding. You don't have to work this week. It's fine. Like, okay, see ya.
Yeah, it's a nice little vacation.
Yeah, right? Are there any quarterbacks that you consider as good streaming options for going into week 5?
Yeah, there's 2 that I like a lot. Excuse me. The first one is Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Now, he's actually played really well. Carolina's offense has looked really good to start the year, way better than what I expected, especially since they've been missing Christian McCaffrey for the last couple of weeks. But Teddy Bridgewater had a really good week this past week. He was extremely efficient, and he has a great matchup this upcoming week in week 5 against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are a terrible defense, so I expect Bridgewater to be the perfect streamer for this week. And if you aren't able to get your hands on Bridgewater, I would go after Justin Herbert. Herbert looked really good in his matchup against the Buccaneers last week. He's taking some giant steps forward in progressing as a starting caliber quarterback. So definitely give him a shot as well. He could produce some big fantasy points for you this week.
Well, there you have it. A quarterback he called last week is what I got most of my fantasy points from, if I say so myself. But, you know. Are there any running backs that you consider as good streaming options or people that we should pick up going into week 5?
Yeah, for sure. So D'Ernest Johnson is someone that probably none of you have heard of before this past week, but he plays for the Cleveland Browns. He's a running back for them. And since Nick Chubb, their starting running back, got hurt, he's going to be out for about 6 weeks. D'Ernest Johnson is the one who's going to step in and see an increased workload. He should do really well. He ran really well in relief of Nick Chubb in week 4 in that game against the Cowboys where the Browns had over 300 yards rushing. The Browns are a really good rushing offense. I think D'Ernest Johnson's going to have a big workload even though he's having to split time with Kareem Hunt. I think he should be someone that should definitely be added, stash. He could end up being a good flex play while Chubb is out with injury. Another running back I like a lot is Chase Edmonds. Now, he's been playing really well as well. In fact, he's been outplaying Kenyon Drake, the player that he's backing up in Arizona. So I like Chase Edmonds. I think he's going to establish himself as a good flex option going forward, and definitely someone that should be added if he's on your waiver wire. Another player I think could see an increased role due to an injury on the team is Justin Jackson. So Austin Eckler, the Chargers' lead running back, he got hurt. He's going to be out for about 4 to 6 weeks, give or take. And I think Justin Jackson is going to be able to have some increased touches, an increased workload, should be able to come in and perform well, splitting carries with Joshua Kelly, so definitely worth an add. Also, Reggie Bonifant, another running back for the Carolina Panthers, I think he's going to do well. He had 12 touches this past week, and he ran really well on the opportunities he got, and he had a receiving touchdown. So Bonifant should be a good player to stash, just in case something were to happen to Mike Davis, but especially while Christian McCaffrey is still hurt. Can't hurt to have Bonifant as a backup on your bench. And then Damian Harris came back from IR. He played really well for the Patriots. They were going against the Chiefs. We know the Chiefs aren't great at stopping the run, but so Harris was able to run for 100 yards on their Monday night game. I think that as long as Sony Michel is out, he's actually currently on IR himself, I think Harris is going to have an increased workload. You should be able to trust him as a flex play as well. And now for a deeper sleeper, and that's Dontrell Hilliard. Now, he's an other running back for the Browns, and again, with Nick Chubb being out for a few weeks, I think Hilliard could be someone that you could stash aside in a deeper league. He could be someone that could see an increased workload as well due to that Chubb injury. And one last running back for you is J.D. McKissic. Now, McKissic hasn't been producing hugely for the Washington football team, but what's interesting to me is he had 7 catches on 8 targets, and he could end up being Washington's preferred check down option. We know that their quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, he's not the best quarterback. He's going to be checking down the ball a lot. So if you're really in a pinch and you have to start someone in your flex, maybe you've had a bunch of injuries hit your team, or you're in a bye week situation where you really just need somebody to start, McKissic could be your guy. If he's getting that many targets and that many catches, that is going to be something very valuable, especially in PPR leagues.
So now that we know our QBs that we should probably be streaming and our RBs, are there any wide receivers that we should be looking at streaming this week?
Yeah, for sure. One is Brandon Ayuk. He had a really nice game on Sunday Night Football going up against the Eagles. He actually had an explosive run TD. If you watched it, it was incredible what he was able to do on this little end-around play that he had. But he should keep improving as the season goes. I think that he will turn into an explosive option for the 49ers. Definitely someone to keep an eye on and pick up if you have an available spot. Another player who might be have more immediate value is Zach Pascal, who's a wide receiver for the Colts. He's turning into one of Phillip Rivers' favorite targets in that offense. He had 8 targets this past week, which is really good. That's the volume you want from a wide receiver. So definitely someone else to keep an eye on. Maybe add if you have a spot. Laviska Shenault, he's a wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now he's someone I think could turn into a big boom or bust player. So that means that he could, be a player that doesn't get you a lot of points one week, but in another week he could absolutely explode. But I like what he's doing. I think he could have some value for your team as well. Traquan Smith, a wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, I think he's in a good spot, especially if Michael Thomas continues to be held out due to injury. I think Drew Brees can trust Smith in that offense. He's been in the offense for a while. So at least while Michael Thomas is still injured, I think you should go maybe give Smith a chance if you're desperate. And the last wide receiver I'll mention is David Moore, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Now he's turning into one of Russell Wilson's favorite downfield targets. So I think that you can trust David Moore to continue to see targets like that. Russell Wilson is one of the best deep ball passers in the NFL, and he loves throwing the ball to Moore. They've really developed a connection over the last couple of weeks. And like Shenault, he could turn into a big home run hitter, someone that could get you a ton of points if he just catches one deep touchdown pass each week. Definitely someone to keep an eye on.
I know this is bad, but I literally thought that Drew Brees retired like 5 years ago.
He probably should have.
I did not know he was still... My grandma used to be obsessed with him when he was like at the Saints. She loved him. And I just assumed it just wasn't there anymore. What can I say? But
nope, he's there. He's still trying to throw the football.
Are there any tight ends that we should be looking to pick up this week?
Yeah, so my favorite one is Dalton Schultz, tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he has been really great for the last few weeks. If he's somehow still available on your waiver wire, go pick him up, especially if you've had some trouble at tight end. Maybe you drafted Rob Gronkowski, Tyler Higbee, Austin Hooper. If you have one of those guys, drop them. Go pick up Dalton Schultz. He could be someone that could turn into the next elite tight end in fantasy football, so definitely someone to keep an eye on. I like Dalton Schultz a lot. Another player who's really surprised and been great the last couple of weeks is Robert Tonyan with the Green Bay Packers. Now, he exploded in Week 4. He had 3 receiving touchdowns. Now, I don't think that's always going to be the case. Eventually, Devontae Adams is going to come back and start taking some of those targets away from Tonyan, but he seems like a tight end that could actually consistently get looks from Aaron Rodgers. We know that in the past, Aaron Rodgers has not favored tight ends, but he seems to really like Tonyan, so definitely another person to keep an eye on. And the last one is another deep sleeper, and that's Cameron Brate. Now, Cameron Brate, he has not seen a lot of work in recent weeks or in recent years for that matter. He was the 3rd tight end on the depth chart for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, he caught a touchdown in Week 4, but he only received, I think, 1 target. So he turned that 1 target into a touchdown. But the reason I like Cameron Brate as a deep sleeper is that one of the players in front of him, O.J. Howard, he got hurt. He's going to be out for the year. And that means that Brate is going to be seeing the field a lot because the Buccaneers like to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. So that means that Gronk will be on the field, but Brate will be on the field as well. Gronk has not been performing as well as in years past. He's gotten older. He's a little bit washed in the passing game. But Brate could be somebody that Tom Brady really finds a connection with. Could be a really good pass-catching tight end for the Buccaneers. So definitely someone to keep an eye on. Again, he's most definitely available in your league. You probably don't even need to pick him up this week. But keep an eye on him. He could be someone that explodes in later weeks.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dalton Schultz ever since I seen a picture of him yesterday. I'm not going to lie. He'll be a must-add for me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, why not? I'm not proud to admit that that's only like 30% of what I go on, okay?
That's okay.
Are there any defenses that we should be looking to pick up going into Week 5?
Yeah, so there's 2. One is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the reasoning for it is they're playing the New York Jets, and of course, we're not going to get through one of these segments without me trashing on the Jets for a second. Again, you just want to stream whatever defense is playing the Jets. This week it's the Cardinals. Cardinals didn't have a great week last week defensively, but I think they'll be fine playing against the Jets. Jets are going to turn the ball over. They're probably going to allow some sacks. That's what we're chasing whenever we're trying to pick out a defense to stream. So you should feel safe being able to play the Cardinals. Then also the Kansas City Chiefs. They're available in way too many leagues. They have been one of the best defenses in the league this year. They scored a ton of defensive points this past week against the Patriots. They had a pick 6. They had 4 turnovers. That's what we like from our defense. So they're facing the Raiders this week. Raiders have never been able to get anything going against the Chiefs, especially in recent years. I don't think they're going to be able to get anything going in Week 5. So playing the Chiefs against the Raiders is a smart play. They're available in most leagues, and I think the Chiefs have a good chance to be the highest scoring defensive team that you could play this week. So go and get the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start putting a trigger warning for Jets fans at the beginning of this. Like, hey, if you like the Jets, you might as well not watch this. Just saying.
I think most Jets fans are fairly self-aware, though. They know, and I feel for them. I feel terrible for Jets fans. I don't like having to trash on this team so much. I wish that they were better, but they just aren't. I'm sorry, Jets fans. Like, I feel for you. It's not a good place that you're in right now. I'm sorry.
It's almost painful that he has to trash them, honestly, is what I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do it, but somebody's gotta.
Yeah, well,
that's all he's saying.
There's a lot of people that do it, but it's yeah, you kind of have to.
I guess now we can kind of look into trades instead. So is there anybody that had down weeks in Week 4 that we should be looking to target in trades this week?
Yeah, absolutely. So one is Kenyon Drake. Now, if you own Kenyon Drake, you probably are so disappointed in him because he has not been good this year. And you probably drafted him in the first round or in the early second round, so I know that you're disappointed in Kenyon Drake. But because the owner of Kenyon Drake is disappointed in Kenyon Drake is why you should go out and buy Kenyon Drake. He's still getting a ton of volume, and that's what we want from our running back. So right now his value is about as low as it possibly could be. I think that he is eventually going to explode, much like how Joe Mixon exploded this past week. He had a huge game. Eventually, that volume is going to turn into points. It's just only a matter of time. I think Drake has a good chance to be able to have a good game against the Jets this week. So go get him now while his value is still really at its absolute lowest. Another running back who's in a similar situation is Miles Sanders. He hasn't been great this year. He's been kind of riddled with injuries so far, but I think he's getting better. I think his situation is going to improve. And again, he's getting the volume. And again, when we're looking at running backs, we need to chase volume. And whenever you have a running back that's getting as much volume as Miles Sanders, you want him on your team. Go out and get him. His value is still pretty low, and I'm sure you could buy him at a fairly low price. Darrell Henderson is another running back I think you should go out and buy. He had a bad week this past week against the Giants, but he's probably the Rams' best running back currently. And I think that Rams offense, while they struggled in week 4, I think they're going to be fine going forward. So go pick up Henderson. He's been good this year. I think he's someone that you could probably buy at a fairly low price right now. Now, a couple wide receivers I like. The first one is Keenan Allen, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. I think that his value is extremely interesting right now because as long as Justin Herbert is the quarterback for the Chargers, his value is going to continue to increase. And Allen is just an incredible receiver. He's amazingly talented. And I think with Herbert slinging the ball around, his value is only going to increase. And eventually Allen could turn into a wide receiver 1 for your offense. So go buy him now. And same thing for Kenny Golladay. Golladay missed the first couple of weeks of this season with an injury. His value's been kind of suppressed, but he's turning it around. I think that Golladay is one of the best receivers in the leagues. I think that his team is going to be in a situation where they're going to be throwing the ball constantly, trying to keep up in games. That's what we want to see with our wide receivers. We want to see that high level of passing on their team, and Galladay's in a good situation. So his value is still relatively low because he's coming off of an injury, but I think you should go buy him. He should be fine for the rest of the year.
Well, there you have it. Are there any players that we should feel okay with trading away this week?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple that I think you should trade away immediately. Melvin Gordon, running back for the Denver Broncos. He had a huge week against the Jets, but I just don't think he's going to be able to keep it up. And Phillip Lindsay is going to return from an injury probably this upcoming week. As soon as Phillip Lindsay gets back onto that field, Melvin Gordon's value goes down like in half at least. So I think you should probably trade away Gordon while his price is highest, which is this week. Get rid of him, and you'll probably be really happy. You should be able to get something really good in return from Melvin Gordon this week. A player who I think you should just get rid of for whatever you possibly can is AJ Green. And I know I don't usually say to sell low, but AJ Green's been so bad and he's just so washed, it seems like. I think you should sell him for whatever you can get for him. You might be able to sell him just based on his name recognition. And so go out, get rid of him. Whatever you can get for him is probably a win at this point. And then also Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon has had a couple of really good weeks because the 49ers have been really hurt. Both Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman have been injured, and McKinnon has really taken advantage of the opportunities that he's gotten in that backfield. But Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman are coming back from injury. Eventually, that's going to be a very crowded backfield, and McKinnon is not going to be able to really get the carries that he's seen now. He's not going to be able to produce as well as he has been the last couple of weeks. So sell him now before Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman come back, and you'll probably be happy that you did.
Be careful, AJ Green. You're treading thin waters, apparently.
Yeah, very thin.
It's not doing good. Okay, guys, so there you have it. There wasn't a ton of explosions this week, so that might be kind of having you think, hey, who am I going to pick up? Well, there's still plenty of good players. Caleb listed so many good ones. And hopefully week 5 will give us a few more explosions, maybe a little more TNT action, if you will. So go on ahead and pick up those players, grab some popcorn, and get ready for another good week of football. We love football here, okay? With that being said, I'm going to go on ahead and throw a recap up over here and let Caleb leave. We went over people to look for in your waiver wires, people to pick up in your waiver wires, people to trade away, some good defenses to look at. And hopefully if you follow those, then you guys will have a winning week during week 5. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Please, please, please. I will get down on my hands and knees and beg you. As always, my name is Jaden. This is Fantasy Tomorrow, and we are here to give you the information to learn today and win tomorrow. See you guys. Bye.